What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel here from the Geek Speak Nation channel, and I'm here to bring you my review of Star Trek Beyond.
Of course I care, Leonard. I always assumed my respect for you was clear. The dialogue we have had across the years has always...
It's okay, Spock. You don't have to say it. Well, at least I won't die alone. Well, that's just typical.
So, Star Trek Beyond is the third film in this kind of like reboot of the Star Trek film franchise, but it's the 13th film overall. And I have to say that I am a fan of these Star Trek films. I really enjoyed the first Star Trek reboot film. It was really fun, really great. The second one was good, not as great. I think the marketing was a bit of a debacle with them and the whole main villain not being who we thought it was. But overall, I've enjoyed the previous films, and I had high hopes, yet had a lot of concerns going into Star Trek Beyond. This production had a lot of issues before it had even got off the ground. With the death of Leonard Nimoy, and then they also had J.J. Abrams decided he wasn't going to take up the reins to direct because he was doing Star Wars. I know, traitor. But since he was doing all that, and so Simon Pegg, the actor who played as Scotty, had to take up the reins as the writer for the film, and then Justin Lin, director of Fast and Furious films, decided to come along and, spice things up a bit, and decided to take the helm. And I was a little trepidatious, especially after watching that first trailer, because I wasn't all too really excited about it. And I was a little worried. But I have to say, after watching this film, it's really good. I really had a really good time. I think when you look back at the original Star Trek TV show, and you look at Next Generation and things like that, I think when you look at it, it has a lot to do with diplomacy, and it has a lot of gripping drama that I really enjoy about watching the TV show. But when it comes to the films, these are more action-oriented, more exploration-oriented, and Star Trek Beyond really embraces the exploration aspect of Star Trek and really goes for it. And I really think that this film was a almost near perfect summer blockbuster in that way. Now, granted, it has its issues, but still, at its core, it's a really fun summer blockbuster, and it embraces the exploration aspect, and it really explores, pun intended, the relationships between all the characters. So overall, I really think they went in a direction with this film which was interesting, and they really hit home with it. Now, before getting into the story, I also have to talk about some other things that were going on. As I mentioned, the death of Leonard Nimoy was very unfortunate, and also the death of Anton Yelchin, aka Chekhov in the film. And it's kind of felt, the absence of their absence is kind of felt. I think when you look at this film, knowing the knowledge of all what this production went through, and the cast members who are no longer with us anymore or with the franchise, it adds another layer to this film. It adds and it deepens the film in a way that I didn't expect. I think this film is really one about relationships and valuing our relationships, and even though we don't have that much time and we don't know when we could go or how much time that we have, that we still enjoy what we're doing and find a purpose. And I think that was the most powerful message about this film, was finding purpose and fighting for that purpose. And I found that just really, really powerful with everything going on. And again, talking about the cast, the returning cast, everyone does a great job. Chris Pine as Captain Kirk, Zachary Quinto as Spock. They all deliver excellent, excellent performances. Carl Urban is a real standout in this as Bones. So funny every single time. But I really think that Simon Pegg as the writer was one of the best things for this film, because he really understands these characters from their previous incarnation, but also from the core of what's been going on in the reboot of how these actors portray these characters. And they really play up on their strengths and put them in interesting character combinations and teams that you normally haven't seen before or wouldn't expect. And it really fleshes out their relationships and their respect for one another. And it really harpens on relationships, and it's such a powerful thing to watch. I think the script was handled very, very well, and the cast did an excellent job. No one's phoning it in, even though this is the third time around. But the only thing is, a lot of the cast members who do great in the previous films don't really get time to shine, even though there are some pretty big things that happen to their character. For instance, I'm going to have to go with Zoe Saldana. Zoe Saldana's character has been a real staple in the first two films, but she isn't really given much to do in this film, and neither is Anton Yelchin's character, unfortunately. But there is room made for other characters and other dilemmas to pop up, which is why those characters kind of get pushed to the side, and I understand that, but no one really planned on any terrible things happening. So it's just, you kind of watch the film and you wish the main cast that's been a staple since the first two films and previous incarnations of Star Trek really had more of a time to shine, but still in the roles that they were in, they didn't phone it in, they gave an excellent performance, and everyone stuck to their guns and just did a great job. Now, speaking of persons, people doing a great job, I'm going to have to go with the director, Justin Lin. He chose some interesting things that I didn't expect when it came to his directing. Now, I don't know if this is because I am so used to watching J.J. Abrams direct all these space adventures, but I'm so used to the stationary camera, zooming in, tracking shots, all these things, coverage of rooms. I didn't expect Justin Lin's very unique approach to capturing all these things. When he does tracking shots, he usually starts off very oblique with tilted shots, and it adds this, and he's very good at capturing this sense of chaos, this sense of movement, this sense of mystery. Justin Lin is very good at momentum and pacing in this film. He really knows how to work the camera in a sense of creating a sense of mystery and an unorthodox sense of nature during scenes of exploration, and always captures this vibe of how unique and strange space is, and terrifying yet exciting. And I think Justin Lin's direction is very, very strong in this film. Now, the only problem I do have with his directing, and it's partly with editing as well, is the cutting and the editing. It's just, Justin Lin is very into close quarters combat, and that's totally cool with one of capturing that. But my only problem is that when he's going in close for capturing these action sequences, it's a little too close. And with the editing, and he does a little bit of shaky cam, a little bit too much sometimes, it gets really muddled and it's very hard to understand what's going on. When you have this siege that is going on towards their ship, it gets really, really confusing about what's going on because things are exploding, there are people in ships, then it'll cut to ships, it'll cut to people fighting in the ships, and then anti-gravity things are going down as the ship is falling. And so you're doing all these things, you're like, oh my goodness, this is kind of giving me a headache. It's hard to follow along sometimes. And I understand that Justin Lin was really trying to capture the chaotic nature of a war and a battle. And he does capture that, but it's a little too confusing because there's some really awesome and some really, really amazing choreography going on. Whoever was their stunts coordinator really did an excellent job with capturing just how certain people would fight and so how organic it felt. And it was really, really fun to watch. I think Justin Lin really captures and really tells a captivating story throughout the entire rest of the time. It's just certain action sequences get really muddled. But in certain action sequences where there's a motorcycle chase sequence, which it actually works, trust me. It's actually really, really excellent how he captures the widescreen just action. I think this movie probably would have been better for me if I was watching it in 3D, although it probably would have given me even more of a headache. But besides that, and Justin Lin's directing, the story itself was really surprising for me. I think that when I was watching the trailers, I was afraid that the whole entire story was just about them being marooned and that the story would be too stationary, but it really, really works. And the device of having them being trapped on this planet, and having them trapped in different groups together really led for some interesting character development that I really didn't expect in this film. This film is actually really deep and intimate with its thoughts about its characters and what the characters think of one another. I think it's really, really cool. And it does what a lot of Star Trek Into Darkness was trying to do when it came to the exploration of relationships like between Spock and Captain Kirk, but without being so heavy-handed, without feeling so forced. Everything about how all these characters felt very natural, and that's what I really loved about the script and about the story. When it comes to the villains and the characters on the planet, I do have to say that Sophia Boutella, if I'm saying that correct, who plays as the alien Jayla, did a really, really excellent job. She was a strong, awesome character. I really loved her character. She was so fun to watch, and I really hope she joins the crew sometime, and we get to explore her character if they'll ever bring her back in later on in other films. After watching this, I'm really excited to see whatever else Sophia Boutella is going to be in. I think she did a really great job in this film, and I could totally see her as a leading actress in other action films. I just think you just give her more material, give her more stuff to work with. She's going to deliver some really awesome stuff. I think she did a really, really great job. I loved her character in this film, and she was written very well. And I also think so was the villain portrayed by good old Idris Elba, who is killing it this year in the box office with all the films he's been getting. It's mostly animated, but still, it's really great. Idris Elba, as usual, gives a really great performance, a really captivating performance as the villain. Although, my only thing is, some of the villain's motivations just weren't a little clear to me, because this is one of those films where it builds up this mystery of who the villain is and what his backstory is, and they just wait until the very end to tell you. But when you find out, it feels very rushed, because they're like, we have all these other dilemmas going on, and it's like, oh yeah, and this is his motivation, and you're like, okay, just dig a little deeper. That was the only thing I wanted, was just for them to dig a little deeper into the aspect of the villain's motivations and what he had been through for so many years, and what led him to the point where he's like, I gotta declare war on everybody. Like, I really wanted to know what drove him to that point, and just get, some more insight into who he was, because I think he was a great foil and a great reflection for Kirk and for many other characters in the film, for what they were going through, and this questioning of identity and this questioning of purpose when you feel lost. And it was such a beautiful concept, and I think it's very well explored, even though they could have dug a little deeper. That was my only thing really with the script. Besides that, I think the story is very well paced. It's a really fun adventure that I would not mind coming back to. I would love to come back and watch this film. It was such a fun time, such a fun popcorn film with a really deeper subject matter if you're looking for it, and it's not hard to find. And a third act that can get you emotional if you're really invested. Guys, I really enjoyed Star Trek Beyond, and I think this is a really, really solid film by everyone involved. And so with that, I'm going to give Star Trek Beyond an 8 out of 10. So, have you seen Star Trek Beyond? Let me know what you think about it in the comment sections down below, guys, because like I said, I really enjoyed this film. It's very straightforward, it's very focused, it does some exploration of the characters that I didn't expect, it was fun, and it was just a great time overall. I really enjoyed this film, guys. So, let me know, as I said before, what you thought about the film. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Is this your favorite film out of the new Star Trek trilogy? Maybe, maybe not. For me, I think it might be. I don't know. I'll have to watch the other two films again since it's been a while. But yeah, this is a really, really great film, guys. So let me know what you think about it. And also, guys, while you're down there, if you liked my review, hit that like button down below and subscribe to become a part of the Geek Nation if you haven't already. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, we're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. 1,000. And guys, we are almost there. Can you just feel the energy? Can you feel the energy? I feel like Goku. So much energy is coming at me. But guys, let me know what you think. And just continue to support the content that we're putting up on this channel, guys. We really thank you for all the support you give. We love all the comments you leave. I love interacting with you guys. It really is one of my favorite things to do. And guys, if you love hearing me talk and jibba jabba about everything going on in our world of nerdism, it's basically a religion at this point, let me know. what you think of the Weekly Geekly podcast. You know, that podcast I got where we talk about all the nerd news. So check that out if you like what you're seeing right now with this beautiful mug and this lovely voice. Yeah. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Daniel, and don't forget to get geeky.